Hello mga Ka-ECOP, I am Jose Roland Moya. The Employers Confederation of the Philippines, or ECOP, is here to ensure that your voice as employers is heard, articulated, and acted upon. ECOP addresses industrial relations issues, promotes social dialogue, and fosters proactive collaboration among employers and stakeholders. We are here to help employers become responsible, sustainable, and inclusive. ECOP has dual functions. First is its advocacy and lobbying role on labor and social policy issues on behalf of employers before the executive and legislative branches of the government. Second is the delivery of direct services, including training, capacity building, consultancy, provision of information, among others. By the way, wag po kayong aalis. Manood po tayo sa buong programa. Sagutin ang aming ECOPlus question for the day. I-post ang tamang sagot sa Facebook account ng ECOP at manalo ng premyo. I will later on be joined by my co-host in today's episode of our digital TV program, Ms. Lenartes Lights Viloria, National Project Coordinator for Rebuilding Better, Fostering Business Resilience, Post-COVID-19 International Labor Organization. Mga Ka-ECOP, welcome to ECOPlus Amplifying Your Voice every other Monday at 5:30 p.m. Ang episode natin ngayon ay tungkol sa Gender, Equality, Diversity, and Inclusion or GEDI. Ang focus ito ay para i-promote ang fair treatment and equal opportunity for all. It aims to eradicate discrimination on the basis of an individual or group of individuals' characteristics gaya ng age, gender, ethnicity, at iba pa. More of the information about GEDI will be discussed with our guests for tonight. Alamin ang iba pang impormasyon sa ating mga panauhin ngayong gabi. Ang unang makakasama natin ay si Ms. Diana Pardo-Aguilar. Ms. Diana Pardo-Aguilar is Vice President of the Employers Confederation of the Philippines and Chair of the ECOP Committee on Diversity and Inclusion. Ma'am Diana, magandang gabi po sa iyo. Welcome to ECOPlus Amplifying Your Voice. Why don't you greet the viewers of ECOPlus Amplifying Your Voice?
Thank you, Roland, and good evening to all. I'm happy that many businesses are now recognizing the importance of diversity inclusion, as this is a personal advocacy of mine. Thank you, ECOPlus, for having me today.
Yeah, ma'am, our episode for tonight is about gender equality, diversity, and inclusion. What is your concept of diversity and inclusion?
Well, diversity is really about representation. In the context of the workplace, it means that a company hires a wide range of individuals, regardless of sex, gender, race, age, disability, etc. So recognizing diversity means that you are for equal employment opportunities. Inclusion, on the other hand, is about how well the contributions and perspectives of different groups of people are valued and integrated into the work environment. So if you take both together, diversity and inclusion, inclusive workplace is one that makes everyone, regardless of who they are or what they do for the business, feel equally involved and supported in all areas of work. It's really about promoting belongingness in the company. So I would say D&I is really a culture at the workplace.
Yeah, Ma'am Diana, within ECOP, there is a committee called Gender and Diversity. Please tell us about this committee in ECOP. This used to be known as Women Committee in ECOP, but I think
Right.
2 years ago, the name was changed to Gender and Equality Committee.
That's correct, Roland. ECOP started with a Women and Gender Committee about a decade ago. Matagal nang pinopromote ng ECOP ang gender equality and women empowerment sa workplace. So we ensured that our programs promoted gender balance and that the women were included in the programs, but we realized that this was just not enough. Aside from women, there were other vulnerable groups in the workplace exposed to the risk of discrimination and even harassment. So andyan ang mga cultural minorities, mga persons with disabilities. All of them may be subject to discrimination at work. As you know, the buzzwords and battle cries globally now are diversity, equity, and inclusion. Many companies are already into this, so that's why we thought of revamping the Women and Gender Committee, because we recognize that there is a larger fight. The Diversity and Inclusion Committee shall lead the efforts of ECOP in creating and raising awareness on diversity and inclusion and implementing relevant programs among its constituents in the business community. We do this in partnership with PhilWen. This is Philippine Women's Economic Network, and PBCWE, Philippine Business Coalition for Women Empowerment.
Ma'am, can you cite some of the challenges that we encounter in the country in the promotion of gender equality and inclusion, specifically in the workplace?
Well, Roland, there are many companies that have established their own D&I policies and programs now. Like I said earlier, there's a larger fight. We now live in a digital world, and more people at the workplace face risks and threats of discrimination. It's vital that our workers feel safe in the workplace, feel that they belong and are valued. Ito yung importance ng D&I. It's an assurance that the company recognizes that there are different groups with different needs, and that the company makes an effort to include all of them in the consultation process and in the policy and program development. Kapag nagkaroon ng sense of belongingness ang empleyado, they will become happy. And if they're happy, they will become productive. Alam na natin kapag happy and productive ang mga empleyado, positive ang impact nito sa kumpanya. Satisfied client make for more revenues. So research really shows D&I makes good business sense. It's obviously really good for businesses.
I'd like you to elaborate a little more on that. Why is it important for companies to have a policy and a set of programs on diversity and inclusion?
Well, any company, whether big or small, can establish their own D&I program that suits the demand of demographics in the workplace. Para sa akin, whether large, small, or medium, as I mentioned earlier, pwedeng magkaroon ng ganitong programs. No? ECOP and PhilWen are here to help install these programs in your companies. Maraming mga practices in larger companies ang pwede natin gawin. Good example. And to some extent, gayahin or kopyahan.
Where are we now in terms of promoting gender and equality in the society and in the workplace? Do you think it remains an uphill struggle?
I believe that we are poised, particularly after the pandemic, to move towards D&I. I think this last couple of years have really made employers think long and hard about what is needed. A lot have pivoted to digital means and also have thought about the mental health and the work environment of the employees. So my feeling is that more and more people, both locally and abroad, will be looking towards having to put in these programs, hopefully. And we want to remind the employers that not only will this translate to happier employees, but also to better bottom line.
What has changed during the pandemic, especially from the perspective of women and the promotion specifically of gender and equality?
Well, what was evident over the last couple of the years of the pandemic is that it hit various stratas at different ways. No? Women, I think, were particularly impacted by this pandemic in that, they had to stay home and take care of their families. Some families had, double incomes, but because of certain closures in some businesses, it was the women who actually bore the brunt of, I guess, the fallouts in employment and also had to take on more responsibilities at home with child rearing and taking care of the home. So at least particularly for the women, I think it's been unusually hard. But as you know, women are particularly resilient, and I think many have rose to the occasion and are doing better. No? But going back to the workplace, I think that we need to consider that women empowerment and equal opportunities have to be foremost in the minds of employers, particularly going forward now in the new norm.
Hindi po ba yung ating kultura, mga traditions and practices are promote in some sense gender stereotyping And ano yung mga efforts na ginagawa lalo na ng mga champions on gender equality, diversity, and inclusion in the workplace? Kasama na po kayo dyan, Ma'am Diana, para itong mga stereotyping ay mawala at upang lalo pa natin maisulong yung equality sa workplace.
Well, I think, Roland, it really has to be top down. I help out in a few boards, and at least I'm fortunate enough that they're quite balanced and have representation for women and other groups. No, I think by having to show that women and other groups which are not usually represented in, let's say, boards or top management, showing that they are equally capable and that they have a lot to bring to the table really helps open the minds of the traditionalists in businesses, and will help bring D&I and make it filter through to the lower levels. Now, I really think it has to start from the top and by leading by good examples, and really showing that through time, as it filters down to the company, into the rank and file, that these new fresh ideas really will be bringing the company to bigger levels, to higher levels, making it more innovative and agile, the new normal.
ECOP has collaborative undertakings and partnerships with other organizations, including the International Labor Organization. Would you like to expound a little more about the partnership and the collaboration between the Employers Confederation of the Philippines and ILO in the promotion of gender inclusivity and diversity in the workplace, Ma'am Diana?
The ILO actually has been quite helpful in supporting our programs on DEI. It has provided many modules and resource guides on business continuity, planning, disability, and other areas which cover DEI. Also, I wanted to mention that we did sign a MOA, or a Memorandum of Agreement, with Philwen recently, where we outlined activities that we will do together. Basically, these are training programs, consultancy, and advisory services, which can help the companies capacitate and formulate their own D&I policies and programs. So there are many modules can be shared by ECOP, Philwen, and ILO, and these include gender communications, inclusive leadership, flexible work arrangement frameworks, which will really help a lot of employers for the new norm.
Your final words, Ma'am Diana?
Thank you, Roland. Again, D&I is quite close to my heart. No? Most of us have been brought up trusting and wanting to be around people who look, think, dress, and act like us. So it's natural that we are uncomfortable with dealing with people who seem different. This is because it's outside our comfort zone. But while many are different from us, the fact is that we each have talents and abilities that make us valuable members to society. Diversity brings about fresh perspectives and ideas. Therefore, D&I is now recognized as an absolute necessity to help keep our businesses agile, innovative, and relevant during this time of hyperchange. I believe trust and respect is the bedrock of inclusion. Having an open mind and valuing what each person can bring to the table is necessary in ensuring a successful and D&I culture in the workplace. Sana po all employees will try to be proactive in adopting these policies and programs. Thanks again for having me, Ron.
Thank you very much, Ms. Diana Pardo-Aguilar, Vice President of ECOP and Chair of the ECOP Committee on Diversity and Inclusion. It's always a pleasure talking to you, Ma'am Diana. Good night and stay safe.
Good night to all. Thank you again.
Thank you very much for a very fruitful discussion, Ms. Diana Pardo-Aguilar. Now for our next guest, Ms. Aurora Geotina-Garcia, Founding Chairperson and President of Philippine Women's Economic Network, or PhilWen, and Co-Chairperson, Philippine Business Coalition for Women Empowerment, or PBCW. Hello, Ms. Butch. Welcome to ECOPlus Amplifying Your Voice. Say hello to our ECOPlus Amplifying Your Voice viewers.
Thank you, Roland. Hello to everyone. Kumusta kayo? At natutuwa ako na nandito kayo para makinig at makaalam ng pag-uusapan namin. Maraming salamat.
Hello, Ms. Boots. So tell us, what is PhilWen? How did it start? How long ago did you form the Philippine Women Economic Network?
Okay. The truth is, actually, because of my work in gender advocacy and diversity inclusion, I was actually a member of 4 organizations, okay? So in 2015, I thought about, since I'm involved in 4 organizations, why don't we organize a coalition, or rather a consortium, putting together all women's business organizations who, after all, have the same advocacy, which is women's empowerment and economic empowerment and gender equality. So in 2015, I broached the idea to 2 other organizations, of which I was not a member. The 6 organizations formed the founding members of PhilWen. So we signed a memorandum of agreement in 2016, and we were formally incorporated or organized in 2017. So siguro ang tanong is, sino-sino ba itong mga 6 na organisasyon na ito? Siguro, umpisan natin, the oldest, you might put it, organization is Women's Business Council Philippines, where the members are women who own or lead small, medium, and large enterprises. Then we have an organization called Philippine CEO Circle, which is composed of women who do not own their businesses but have become CEOs and broken the glass ceilings. Then we have an organization called Women Corporate Directors, which is composed of women in boards. Then we have an organization called NEW, or Network of Enterprising Women, which are composed of women in startup businesses. Then the 5th one is SPARK, which is Samahan ng Pilipina para sa Reforma at Kaunlaran, which caters more to women in the marginalized sectors and women in provincial and rural areas. And there's a lot of engagement with the local government units. So I hope I covered everything. So all of these organizations, I thought was good to be united because they represent women participation in different aspects of business. So that's how PhilWen came about.
Oh, that sounds like the League of Extraordinary Women that you actually formed there.
Well, if you might put it at that.
By creating that group. So are there
data, studies,
or
research findings, Butch, that establish the business case for gender equality, diversity, and inclusion in the workplace? What do statistics tell us regarding the state of gender equality in the country?
Well, the ironic thing is, as you all probably know, ang taas ng rating natin, di ba? Sa Gender Gap Index. In fact, although number 17 worldwide, but second in the region, next to New Zealand, if I recall correctly. So definitely, we are ahead, actually, in fact, of many of our neighbors, especially in ASEAN and the Asian region. I think businesses have recognized na if we practice or adopt gender equal policies, it benefits the businesses, in many respects. One, it helps in recruitment, being able to hire competent employees regardless of gender, being able to retain them, and then also there have been studies which indicate that having gender equal policies or gender sensitivity in organizations helps in innovation because you're able to tap diverse opinions and views about challenges or issues that businesses are faced with. So notwithstanding this significant ranking of the country, I think the reality is there are still many issues that we need to deal with. And for that reason, organizations like ourselves, as well as other business organizations, have taken the initiative to really put some focus on addressing all of these issues which affect women in particular.
It seems like you're posing a challenge to our organizations, on keeping that rank or even increasing, our rank there. What do you think, Ms. Boots? What role can our employer business management organizations like ECOP play in terms of promoting gender diversity and inclusion among its constituents in the business community?
Itong advocacy nito, maraming participants. I'd like to make reference to what we call a women empowerment and gender equality, diversity, inclusion ecosystem. Okay? Madaming participants dyan. Of course, ang gobyerno nandyan. Importante because they provide the regulatory framework to push for this advocacy. Another important participant ay yung mga negosyo, yung mga nag-empleo ng tao. That's why it's important that business organizations such as ECOP purposely take action and advocate for gender equality because you are the ones who will define the policies that your businesses will adopt to make sure that women or all genders have an opportunity to be employed gainfully in an environment which promotes such advocacy or gender equality in the workplace. So maraming pwedeng gawin ang mga negosyante or shall we say employers represented by ECOP.
Why is it important for these business organizations to close rank and promote the advocacy on GEDI?
Well, katulad ng PhilWin, nagsama-sama na kami para lumakas yung influensya, di ba? The term that you use, para lumakas yung lobby. At ganun din ang mga iba't ibang negosyo, instead of them working separately and individually, it's always better to group together and organize and push the advocacy in a unified manner. There are many, aside from the ability to influence, the other benefit is you can learn from each other. Marami tayong matututunan eh. Kunyari, si company A, merong ganitong polisiya. Aba, maganda yan ah. Subukan din nga natin, let's say, narinig ni company B. So, merong opportunity to exchange best practices. Of course, at the same time, mag-share din ng mga problema, challenges, para makapag-isip together ng solusyon na maaring nagre-require ng bagong batas or pagbabago sa batas, mga ganung bagay.
Yeah, Butch, what can you say about, quote, unconscious gender bias, unquote? Is it still being experienced by women even in top management positions?
The reality is yes. It's ingrained, it's a cultural challenge, I think, ingrained as part of society. And that's not only in the Philippines, but even in other parts of the world, even in developed countries. So there's a whole mindset change that needs to take place. And to my mind, it starts from the home. Nag-umpisa yan sa bahay. Di ba nakasanayan natin na usually napapakinggan natin? O ikaw, Maria, huwag ka na mag-college, mag-ano ka na lang, tama ng high school, kasi mag-aasawa ka naman. Huwag ka mag-aral, o kung magka-college ka man, huwag ka mag-aral ng ng engineering or law, para sa lalaki lang yan. O ikaw naman lalaki, ikaw mag-aral ka ng kolehiyo, aralin mo, engineering doktor, kung ano mang kurso. So sa pamilya pala, nag-uumpisa na yung na may kaibahan ang lalaki at babae, pati sa mga pag-aaralang kurso, pati sa behavior. So nag-uumpisa yan dyan. Pagpunta naman sa eskwela, ganun din. So maraming bagay na kailangan palitan natin para itong unconscious bias na ito ay matanggal mula pa sa pagkabata ng mga mamamayan natin.
Pero di ba, Butch and Lights, kapag pinag-uusapan na yung norms, yung culture, parang napakahirap banggain ito at saka baguhin. But over the years, we have seen the change, the evolution of mindsets. Paano kaya natin mas mapapabilis itong pagbabago ng mga mindsets at pananaw, Boots, when it comes to gender equality, diversity, and inclusion?
Alam mo, natutuwa nga ako meron kayong ganitong programa eh. This is one avenue. We need to educate and make our people aware. Awareness is important. Importante alam nila bakit nga ba pinag-uusapan ito? Ano ba yung ibig sabihin nito? Nakakabuti ba to na hindi natin binibigyan ng oportunidad ang babae? O namimiss ba natin yung mga talento at kakayahan ng mga babae dahil ayaw natin silang isama sa So, ang awareness is important. Education is important. Kaya kung nga naniniwala ko na malaking role ng pamilya. Kasi doon nag-umpisa ang education ng kahit na sino sa atin, di ba? Pagdating naman sa eskwela, doon naman mare-reinforce yun. At pagdating naman sa society, sa general society, pag nag-aral, tuloy-tuloy pa rin dapat yung pagtuturo, pagpapaalam sa mga tao na hindi tama yung ganung pag-iisip. na malaking bagay nawawala sa atin kung hindi natin binibigyan ng pansin ang mga kababaihan.
Tama yun si Ms. Boots doon, no? Like, changing social norms will really start from the core of the communities, which is the families, and then goes up to the schools, and then goes up to our communities, right? And na-imagine ko na mukhang papunta dyan ang mga plano nyo, Ms. Boots, no? So, sa PBCW. But siguro, for now, no, we want to look at like, how do you think we can increase yung participation ng women in key leadership positions? I think this is one of the things that we actually looked, diba, in the ILO Women in STEM program and Rebuilding Better project. How can we encourage them, given the challenges that they're having, right? You know, as family members, unpaid care work and all that, and the social norms that are discouraging them. How do you think we can encourage them to like get into these leadership positions, not only to ensure workplace gender equality, but also to recognize those milestones that they have?
If you recall, di ba sinabi ko sa umpisa na isa doon sa organisasyon nga namin yung dalawa in fact, Filipino Circle, mga CEO, tapos yung Women Corporate Directors, Women in Boards. To my mind, para dumami ang babae sa leadership positions, unang-una, dapat mas maraming babaeng maging CEO, maging board directors. Because studies have shown that where there are women in boards or where there are more women in leadership positions, more likely the organization will be gender sensitive. There will be more workplace gender equality in these types of organizations. Pero bago naman sila makarating dun sa posisyon na yun, kailangan nating i-train din sila. Alam mo, gumawa kami ng study a few years back. Pinag-aralan namin, bakit nawawala ang mga maraming babae nag-uumpisa as, let's say, junior staff, okay? They graduate to become middle managers. Pagkatapos no, nawawala na sila. You know, they fall off what we call nga, the study was called the leaking pipeline. So, sa mga pag-aaral na yun, ginawa namin, several things emerge. One is because the organizations that they're involved with do not give them opportunity. So obviously, kailangan magbago yung pag-iisip ng organisasyon na yun para, mag-promote ng mas maraming babae. Pangalawa, yung work setting is not conducive naman. Kasi nga, meron silang multiple roles. So importante din na yung polisiya ng mga organisasyon na yun ay recognizes that women have multiple roles. That's why nag-flourish nga yung flexible work arrangements. Dahil, there are some women who are good, talented, but have to keep up with certain familiar responsibilities. So sana yung mga kumpanya nila pumapayag na hindi sila pumapasok araw-araw or pumapasok sila so many hours a day, all sorts of the combinations of flexible work arrangement. Pero ang isang bagay din na napagkaalaman namin, yung mga babae mismo, walang konfiansa o takot na maging whatever, maging VP, maging CEO or something. At saan nanggagaling yun? Sa lack of confidence perhaps. Kaya nga palaging sinasabi ko sa mga kababaihan na ang tanong ay pag in-offer ka ng posisyon, na promotion, ang tanong ay hindi dapat, bakit ako? Ang tanong dapat ng mga babae para tumaas sila sa organisasyon, bakit hindi ako? In other words, bakit hindi ako ang binigyan ng oportunidad? So kailangan ma-develop din ng mga babae. So the organizations where they are should recognize this, but at the same time, we have to develop the women to become CEOs or, senior leaders in any organization.
Yeah, thank you, Butch, for your comprehensive answer to the question. Anong role ang pwedeng gampanan ng mga kalalakihan, both at home and in the workplace, upang maitaguyod ang gender equality and empowerment?
Malaking papel. Remember, you are 50% of the population, whether locally or globally. So, ang filosofiya namin, kasama dapat ang lalaki. Okay, bakit? Let's be honest. Ang decision makers ng maskisang, whether in politics or in businesses, whether here or locally, are still mainly men, dominated by men. So we are not here to antagonize, but we are here to partner with men because it's important that they are part of the decision-making process. Related to that nga, nagtayo kami actually ng local chapter na inumpisahan sa Australia of what they call the Male Champions of Change Philippines. So the members of this organization are male CEOs who deliberately commit to adopt gender-sensitive policies in their businesses. So, dyan namin ipinapakita na malaking bagay o malaking role meron ang mga kalalakihan. At paalala din natin sa bahay, in typical households, may tatay or may father figure, So, kailangan partner, sabay-sabay tayong nagtatrabaho para sa advokasya na ito. So, importante ang kalalakihan, no doubt.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Boots, for your very inspiring and very encouraging and at the same time challenging message to both our women and men out there on how we can support women in the workplace. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, but Ms. Boots, final word for our viewers for today's session.
Well, gusto ko lang sabihin na kung hindi natin bibigyan ng pansin ang gender equality, women empowerment, and diversity at inclusion, malaking nawawala sa atin. Maging sa organisasyon, maging sa ekonomiya natin. Dahil malaking kontribusyon ng mga kababaihan. Tandaan natin na sa mga MSMEs, siguro 80-90% niyan ay kababaihan. So hindi dapat natin niyang pabayaan. Bigyan natin ng pansin dahil malaking bagay ang mawawala sa atin na pag hindi natin tinuunan ang women's empowerment, gender equality at diversity and inclusion. Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, Butch, for your ideas, for your insights. And we look forward to stronger partnership between your organization, PBCW and PhilWen, with ECOP. Not only this year, but in the coming years. Before we proceed to our last guest for tonight, mga Ka-ECOP, we will be right back after this segment.
In today's fast-paced, dynamic, and complex work settings, sound industrial relations enables the enterprise and its employees to work together in the most productive and harmonious manner. It provides enterprises with the necessary responses through institutionalized mechanisms and tools to adapt quickly as situations, especially those that could lead to conflicts, unfold. Labor compliance is also important in maintaining good relations between employers and employees. ECOP's training services are responsive to the needs of employers to put in place sound industrial relations and comply with labor standards. ECOP's industrial relations programs helps companies prepare for DOL's labor inspection, install social dialogue mechanisms, engage in collective bargaining negotiations with trade unions, and design proactive employee discipline and termination process. Our industrial relations program is open to members and non-members of ECOP. However, members of ECOP are allotted free slots, and when they have to pay registration fees, these are based on discounted rates. The IR program can also be conducted in-house to suit the requirements of a specific company. Some of ECOP's IR programs are synchronous or self-paced and could be accessed via the ECOP e-campus. ECOP Training and Development Department also offers technical assistance in installing industrial relations interventions through our help desk. To learn more about our industrial relations program, visit www.ecop.org.ph or email us at ecoptnd@gmail.com.
And we're back. Welcome again to ECOPlus, Amplifying Your Voice. I am Jose Roland Moya, And let me introduce our last guest, Ms. Julia Abad, Executive Director of the Philippine Business Coalition for Women Empowerment, or PBCW. Hello, Julia. Welcome to ECOPlus Amplifying Your Voice. Say hello to our ECOPlus Amplifying Your Voice viewers.
Hello to everyone and hello, Roland.
So what is the Philippine Business Coalition of Women Empowerment? Why and how was it formed? And what does it offer to other Philippine companies?
So PBCW, or the Philippines Business Coalition for Women Empowerment, was formed in 2017. It was really created to bring together like-minded companies to encourage the entry, retention, and advancement of women in the workplace. We help companies to benchmark their performance against their peers, to set up a standard for themselves, and to create roadmaps towards improving workplace gender equality in their own settings.
What inspired this idea? Like, who were the first women who came together to put this all together?
So actually, the first group of companies had a very good mix of male and female CEOs. We started with 7 founding members in 2017. They were Convergys, which is now Concentrix, Ayala Land, Accenture, the SSI Group, SGV, the Magsaysay Group, and Natasha, which is a direct selling outfit.
And Julia, how many member companies do you have right now, and how do you plan or intend to grow your members?
So we now have 17 members to date. We do it through events. We talk to business organizations such as yours. One of our main strategies, I feel, is really getting companies and their leaders to talk about their experiences with PBCW, whether it helped them to sort of benchmark and improve performance, or actually be able to engage with a network of peers and have sort of learning discussions with them, and also to share sort of some best practices across the network, which also, of course, helps others to learn from them as well, which is a big deal for a lot of our members.
Yeah, Julia, in the current business climate and in the context of your vast experience, how do companies react to the promotion of gender diversity in the workplace? Do you think Philippine companies are consciously pursuing the goal of gender equal workplaces? What difference have you noticed, from the past and up to the present?
I have to be honest and say we do encounter still sort of executives and managers who will still tell us that there are other sorts of priorities that they need to be dealing with at the moment, outside of diversity, outside of gender equality. But increasingly, companies are also looking at diversity as a business strategy. It's important to their employees to feel that their views are taken into consideration. It's increasingly important to employees to be part of a group that sort of embraces differences and different opinions and uses that, as a means to improve creativity within organizations and in fact to spur innovation, which, as we all know, has been an important factor to the survival of businesses in the last couple of years. So while there are still challenges, I should think that the appeal of creating more inclusive, more diverse, more creative, more innovative organizations has grown in the past few years.
Do you think you can tell us about the multiple roles that women play now? And I think this is becoming more defined in your work at PBCW, right? It has evolved already.
So, the multiple roles that women play, I think, have been emphasized more than ever in the last couple of years, where home and work have had no boundaries. So now more than ever, women are seen to be juggling responsibilities with regard to care for dependents, whether they are seniors or children, as well as other domestic responsibilities, and in addition to their responsibilities in the office. So while we have also seen that the whole family spending time at home has normalized a greater sharing of the domestic responsibilities across different members of the family. We still see women carrying sort of the bigger share of the workload, and that's really something that we're working to help mitigate or normalize. We try to normalize the sharing of roles, but we also try and help workplaces think of more flexible terms for women so that they are able to curate their hours a bit better, because in these busy days, every hour is spent doing something relevant. So time is very important, especially for working mothers. And that's something we really try and help them curate their hours and make their day sort of as productive as they'd like.
So what support do women need from organizations like PBCW so that they may be able to balance and succeed in their multiple roles? As you said, yes, curate their hours. What kind of support can women see or find at organizations like PBCW?
So what we've helped organizations with a lot during these times is to develop different permutations of flexible work arrangements. That's one thing. In fact, we concluded a sort of working session with our clients very recently on different features of hybrid work because, as the lockdowns sort of ease, and offices are looking more to going back to face-to-face work. But also as workplaces also look at online work or some form of online work or work from home as a long-term rather than a pandemic-induced setup. So we've tried to help them look at, what the workplace of the future or what the workplace of the near future will look like if you try and combine these two things. How have people done it regionally in Australia, and how have their peers, how have companies here envisioned it, and how do they see themselves rolling them out in the future. So we've tried to bring companies together to sort of talk about what is possible, what they have done, and what they're planning, just so companies get a sense of what's out there when they also look at how they will sort of structure their workplaces as we look at a post-COVID or a new normal scenario.
PBCW member companies are all large and influential in their respective industries. How do we promote gender equality, diversity, and inclusion, or GEDI? Is it GEDI or JEDI?
For easy memory, it's JEDI.
Yeah,
It's
JEDI.
GEDI.
How do we
We are
promote
the
JEDI among micro, small, and medium enterprises? And why is this concept important to micro, small, and medium enterprises as well?
Well, I think for the very same reasons that they are important for large companies, because diversity and inclusion, inclusive and diverse settings do spur innovation. They do help with retention, and they do increase employee morale. And those are things that work, whether you have 1,000 employees or just 5. They are things that are important to your business, to your productivity, and to your sort of long-term strategy. So I think that for the very same reasons that we do promote inclusivity and diversity in large companies, they will work for small and medium enterprises as well.
What are some of your collaborative programs or projects with companies and business organizations like ECOP?
So we've had a lot of good work with ECOP. We have run an employee survey that looked at the baseline and the interests on diversity for ECOP. That's really something we hope to do with other organizations as well, so that the organization, the network gets a feel of how their organization looks at diversity, what are the things that they are currently doing, what are the things they would like to be involved in, how would an organization like PBCW be able to support them in their gender and diversity and their inclusion work. So that's one thing. We also do events. We've done events with ECOP. I think we just concluded a successful one on disability and diversity. And this has helped sort of increase awareness of PBCW. We do try to get more than just the executive team of PBCW to come and speak at events. So when we do get invitations, we try and get some of our other member CEOs or HR senior leaders to come and speak, because it's really important for us to be able to share also what our members are doing to a broader business community, because we feel that there's really nothing more convincing to peers than to hear from the experiences of somebody who's, who is in your shoes, so to speak. And we really look at our collaborations with larger business organizations because of, their cohesiveness and their network as a major pillar in our strategy to increase awareness and build the membership of PBCW.
Wow, that's a lot of exciting things, that's happening with PPCW and also ECOP. And it's amazing how the discussions have evolved, by just focusing on women empowerment and now different emerging issues on diversity and inclusion. How else can we jointly promote women empowerment and diversity and inclusion in the workplace? How else can we expand further the amazing work that you are doing?
Well, of course, we'd love it if you could help us increase our membership. One of the things also that we try and promote is really get companies to be serious about measuring their performance with regard to workplace gender equality, diversity, and inclusion. So you had mentioned the business case earlier, and so building the business case and talking about it is one main pillar of PBCW's work. Another is really getting more companies to contribute to strengthening that business case, and we help them do that by going through an assessment process, where companies establish a baseline on how they're doing now. They establish a roadmap and they track their performance against that roadmap. And they sort of triangulate this data with how their employees perceive how they're doing and how their policies are looking. That is something that a lot of our members are doing right now, is going through that assessment process. And if more companies really committed themselves to it, that would create more data, of course, that would build that business case. And also that would have more companies really sort of scientifically looking at how they're doing today and really tracking it so that they can see sort of concrete progress along their work. So that's another way I think that we could be helpful, is to advocate for companies to go through an assessment process and really track their progress on diversity and inclusion.
Yeah. PBCW has gone a long way in the promotion of gender equality, diversity, and inclusion in the workplace, but much remains to be done. What's next for PBCW in 2022 and beyond?
Well, hopefully more members. We're also doing a lot of work with the Securities and Exchange Commission, trying to help them with their sustainability reporting template, because another thing that we do advocate for companies to do is publicize their gender related data, and how to use this data to really make improvements in terms of company policy. So we're looking at expanding that work and helping companies look at their gender data a bit more closely and see how they can sort of use that data to improve their work. So policy reform work, more memberships. I think we'll do a lot of work on the hybrid workplace and what companies have come up with in the coming months. That's, I think, what we'll see in 2022. And of course, we'll really look at expanding our membership and really giving companies a platform to talk about the work that they're doing and to share it with a bigger sort of business community.
Yeah, your parting words, please, Julia.
So we always say that, gender equality is usually looked at as a sort of right thing to do. And it is. But it is also really, diversity and inclusion is more than the right thing to do. It is really the smart thing to do. So I think it's important for companies to start looking at diversity as a way to revive business, as a long-term business strategy, not just for recovery, but I think for sustainable growth. So with that, thank you for having us and for giving us time to talk about PBCW and what we are doing with and for the business community in the Philippines.
Thank you very much, Julia. We're always a fan of your work. PBCW has really gone a lot of milestones in establishing, the agenda for gender equality, diversity, and inclusion. And it's going to go even a longer way beyond 2022 and lots of long strategy plans with ECOP as well. So thank you and see you again for our next forum.
Yeah, thank you so much, Julia, and good luck to PBCW. Keep safe.
Thank you, Roland. Thank you, Lights, and thank you, ECOP.
Let's have a short break for the ECOPlus Amplifying Your Voice Netizens Question and Answer.
Interested in getting familiar with the single and official voice of Philippine employers? Want to stay updated on the latest news and trends on labor and social policy issues? By becoming a member of ECOP, you can have access to all of these and many more. Explore the benefits of joining ECOP. ECOP provides its members with a comprehensive range of services that includes training, advocacy, and information through seminars, research publications and networking. The ECOP Help Desk provides assistance to members who may have questions or concerns on issues regarding human resource management, HRM, industrial relations, IR, and occupational safety and health, OSH. Managed and operated internally using ECOP facilities and technical staff, the Help Desk can be easily accessed through multiple platforms. We regularly conduct free webinars to keep our constituents in the business community abreast with the latest and upcoming developments on industrial relations, social policies, and related topics. Aside from free webinars, we offer to members big discounts in our public training programs, seminars, and workshops on IR, HR, OSH, and a lot more. Philippine employers are represented by ECOP in various tripartite bodies. ECOP's participation in congressional hearings and other policy consultations ensures that the voice of employers is articulated, heard and acted upon. As a member, you can network and join events that bring together company representatives to discuss developments and issues on industrial relations and human resources management through our Members' General Meeting, MGM. Aside from this, you can attend, discover ECOP, an interactive forum organized for members and non-members alike to familiarize them with ECOP's advocacies, activities, and programs. An overview of pending labor bills in Congress and proposed policy issuances discussed in the Technical Executive Committee of the Department of Labor and Employment are usually presented. We provide a learning and sharing platform among representatives of our member companies through our ECOP networks. ECOP Networks has 3 fields of specialization which are Industrial Relations and Human Resources, IR/HR, Occupational Safety and Health, OSH, and Corporate Social Responsibility and Responsible Business Conduct, CSR, RBC. As a member company, your management or HR representatives will have the opportunity to receive full overseas technical scholarship on topics such as industrial relations, human resource management, and occupational safety and health organized in Japan. ECOP also organizes the annual National Conference of Employers, where our members enjoy discounts when participating. Lastly, you will enjoy other benefits such as up-to-date, informative e-bulletin and research publications. We provide our members up-to-date and relevant news, studies and statistics gathered from reputable agencies as well as trends and practices directly collected from various industries. Our members can enjoy 50% discount on research publications such as Corporate Compensation Survey and CBA Report. Free conferences, workshops, or seminars by invitation through ECOP special projects. exclusive access to members-only page in the ECOP website where you can review different project tools, documents, copies of position papers, minutes of committee meeting, and loads of other records. ECOPlus, Amplifying Your Voice is ECOP's digital television program that airs regularly in various social media platforms. The program discusses ECOP's advocacies and programs. It also features interviews with employers, practitioners and policymakers on current, evolving and future workplace issues. Airs twice a month, 5:30 p.m., on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. As our members continue to grow their businesses, ECOP will always continue its mandate of protecting the interest and advocating the welfare of the business community. Discover the many ways you can support your business or enterprise today. Join the Employers Confederation of the Philippines. Your partner. Your advocate. The single and official voice of the Philippine employers on labor and social policy issues.
And we're back. Lights, we are now in the ECOPlus Netizens Corner segment of the show. Let's take a question from our netizens from ECOP's social media account. This one is a question posted by Gina of Cebu City in ECOP's Facebook page. The question of Gina reads as follows. Hello, ako po ay isang bagong empleyado sa aming kumpanya. Bilang babae, ano ang maipapayo nyo sa akin na paghahanda para sa aking career advancement sa kumpanya? Lights, you may want to answer the question of Gina.
Thank you, Roland. At thank you, Gina, sa iyong napakagandang tanong. No? At congratulations sa iyong bagong trabaho sa iyong kumpanya. Napakamagandang milestone lagi ang pagkakaroon ng isang bagong trabaho. At dahil bago tayo sa trabahong ito, kailangan paghandaan natin. No? Hindi lang dahil meron kang bagong trabaho, mag-relax na tayo. No? Kailangan nating paghandaan ang ating career advancement. No? So, importante na i-map out natin kung ano yung mga skills na kakailanganin natin para sa trabaho. Ano yung technical skills at yung soft skills na tinatawag. No? Meron kaming halimbawang training sa ECOP, no? Ang In-Business Soft Skills Training, kung saan ay binibigyan natin ng kasanayan ang ating mga empleyado, babae man o lalaki, ng kakailanganin para mas masanay sa workplace, no? Para ikaw ay mas madaling mag-advance. So kasama dyan ay ang teamwork, for instance, no? Paano tayo makikipagsalamuha sa ating mga team members? Or ang reaching consensus, no? Paano tayo makikipag-negotiate sa ating mga office mates o kaya sa mga boss natin, no? Itong iba't ibang skills na to ay kailangan, meron tayo, parang baon ba, no? Sa ating paglago sa ating kumpanya para hindi lang tayo pumapasok araw-araw, nagiging mas kapakini-pakinabang at produktibo tayong mga empleyado. At mas masaya pa kayo, no? Na nagtatrabaho sa iyong kumpanya before you know it, no? Na-promote ka na o ilang taon ka na rin sa kumpanya. So, importante na i-map out natin ang mga skills na kakailanganin natin sa ating mga kumpanya at saan natin pwedeng kunin yon, no? So, halimbawa, magandang tignan natin online, meron din tayong makikita gaya sa ECOP, for instance, no? Marami silang training na ma-i-offer para sa'yo. So, tignan mo, kumbaga sa pag-upgrade ng phone, ano yung mga skills na pwedeng magpataas ng iyong kalidad bilang isang empleyado. So, I hope nakatulong sa iyo yan, Gina, at I congratulate you again and I look forward sa iyong pagbalik sa ECOP din para sa mga kasanayan na ito.
Thank you, Lights, for answering the question of Gina. To our netizens, keep posting your question in the Facebook page of ECOP and our other social media accounts. For our netizens, kanina binanggit namin ang the ECOPlus question for the day na dapat abangan para manalo ng premyo. Ito po ang ECOPlus question for the day. Ano ang ibig sabihin ng acronym na GEDI?
So, ito na ang mechanics, no? I-comment ang sagot sa Facebook account ng ECOP. Hashtag ECOPlus Amplifying Your Voice. Space, your answer, space, anong title episode na ito. At ito ang pinaka-importante, don't forget to like and share ang episode na ito sa ECOP Facebook page. Ang mapipiling mananalo ay ino-notify sa ECOP Facebook page natin at bibigyan namin ng instructions paano makuha ang premyong ito.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Diana Pardo-Aguilar, Miss Aurora Geotina-Garcia, Miss Julia Abad for your time. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Sa mga nanonood ngayon, maraming salamat. Thank you also to Gina for posting your question in ECOP's Facebook page. Huwag niyong kalimutan na sagutin yung question for the day para manalo ng premyo. Mga ka-ECOP, I'm your host, Jose Roland Moya, with my co-host,
Linardes M. Viloria. See you every other Monday at 5:30 p.m. sa next episode ng
ECOPlus, Amplifying Your Voice. Keep safe and God bless everyone.